to Pica Poco Kitchen. Today we're cooking with a banned ingredient. Vámonos! This is huazontle. It is a millenary ingredient. It gets its name from Nahuatl, Huazontle, which means amaranth head. It is another pseudo-cereal closely related to amaranth, which is another interesting ingredient, also ancient, and I have a video about that, so after watching this one, go please and check that one too. The difference between both is that amaranth is consumed dry and huazontle is consumed fresh. You can blanch it, saute, even sprinkle it raw on salads. It is a high source of iron, phosphorus, calcium. It is rich in vitamin A, E, C, B. It has immunological and antioxidant properties. So it is basically a super duper food. The Mexica saw this nutritional value so highly that they not just consumed it, but they also used it for religious and offerings purposes. And that is what got it banned. When the Spanish invaded and with their efforts of proselytizing the native communities, they banned huazontle completely. And it is thanks to the brave and resilient people that, against all odds, continue planting and harvesting huazontle in secret that we still have it today. So to honor them, let's cook something with it. Before we do anything, we need to clean the huazontle. I bought a bunch of huazontle and it consists in this long stem with little florets. Similar to broccoli, we are going to separate each floret from the big stem. The big stem, it's a little bit fibrous, so it would be hard to eat, so we're getting rid of that. And from there on, I'm just keeping the thin stems that belong in each floret. You can do this by hand or you can even use some kitchen shears. The huazontle also has little thin leaves that you can discard. So I'm gonna do that with the whole bunch and I'll show you what we're gonna do next. And here I have my bowl of loose florets. I'm gonna take them to the sink, put them in a colander, and rinse them really well. You can use any other disinfecting methods that you normally use. Now clean, I'm gonna cover it with water, add salt, and bring it to the stove for a fast boil. As soon as it boils, I'm turning the heat off and transferring the huazontle into a cold bath to stop the cooking process, to maintain a little bit of the crunch, freshness, and greenness of the huazontle. I'll be making huazontle patties, and to serve them, we need to make some sauce. So to my food processor, I'm adding 2 garlic cloves, 4 Roma tomatoes, 1 jalapeño or serrano if you prefer, a quarter of an onion, salt and pepper, and just a third of a cup of water. You can add more if you want your sauce to be lighter. Since we are starting the sauce raw, in the beginning it's gonna look pale. But don't worry, it's gonna get darker and redder the longer we cook it. At this point, I'm gonna add a teaspoon of chicken bouillon for flavor. I'm gonna bring it to the stove and let it cook slowly. If you want, you can roast your ingredients before, but I know sometimes we just don't have the time. Making the patties is a little bit tricky, but be patient and, like people say, trust the process. To fill the patties, I'll be using some cheese. I have some quesillo here, or queso Oaxaca, which I bought at the store. I still haven't figured out how to make it myself, and I will because I promised my niece Sophie that I would make some. So for now, let's use a store-bought. I'm gonna grab some of the huazontle. It's still a little bit wet. You need a little bit of that moisture for it to clump up, but not too much, otherwise you're just gonna make a paste once you start coating them with the flour. Press down some of the huazontle in your hand to make a little bed. Once you have that, put a piece of cheese in between and add more huazontle on top. Using your hands, press down, get rid of the excess moisture, and make some oval or circle shape if you can. Transfer it to the flour and carefully roll it out. I found out later that sprinkling the flour on top it's a bit easier. Manage it carefully, try not to handle it too much or the pieces are gonna fall as you can see here. I'm not too worried right now because in the end I still gonna batter them with egg and that will help them maintain the shape. But for now, do the best you can and don't worry too much. In all honesty, it does require a learning curve. So the more I made, the better I got. I still don't think I am a full professional with it, but I figure it out in the end. I also found it helpful to wrap them with a paper towel once they were shaped to press them down closer and also take down the water content, which made it a little bit easier to roll around the flour. The little bunch that I had made 5 patties, so have that in mind. Huazontle is very inexpensive. My little bunch was less than $1. I'll be coating the patties with egg. For that, I have 2 eggs separated in egg whites and yolks. Set the yolks aside, we're gonna use them later. But first we're gonna whisk these egg whites to soft peaks. When that's done, then we're gonna add the egg yolks. I previously whisked them together to make the incorporation easier. You wanna do circular motions carefully to not deflate the egg whites. Stop as soon as the color is evenly yellow. I like to do this step at the end of the process and once my oil is already heating up. As soon as it gets hot, I'm gonna dump a dollop of this egg white mix on the oil and then on top of that, I'm gonna place one of my patties. The patties have been in the fridge resting while all this happened. After a minute or two, the egg cloud will begin to crust at the bottom. Use that to your advantage, and using your spatula and the sides of your pan, you will enclose the huazontle inside the egg. In some cases, like for the second patty, you might need to add extra egg mix at the top of your patty. So don't worry, just add a little bit on top and proceed the same way. This is the same technique that I use when I'm making chiles rellenos. Let your patties rest in a paper towel. To plate, I like to start with some of the tomato sauce at the bottom, 2 or more patties, and then more tomato sauce on top. And there you go. And here they are, beautiful little huazontle patties. Let's cut them right in half so you can see how the cheese turned out. So in this case, the cheese completely melted. That's gonna depend on the kind of cheese you use. If you use queso fresco, it's gonna remain intact. It's gonna get a little bit softer, but it's not gonna melt. If you use mozzarella or like I did quesillo, which would be more traditional, it's gonna melt. So let's give them a bite now. It is a subtle flavor. Expect something right in between broccoli and spinach. Maybe broccoli because of the texture, but a subtle flavor like spinach. And going back to the ways you can prepare it, think about those two. So you can maybe cook it in some water and just dress it with a nice vinaigrette, or maybe saute it with butter and garlic and serve it as a side. So think about those two options. If you leave it raw, expect a bitter flavor, a little bit of a bite. So if you like kale, you might be into huazontle in your salad. This is my favorite way. I think that the mix of textures, the warmness of the sauce highlights the very subtle flavor of Huazontle. Once again, this is one of those dishes that just makes you feel proud, makes you think about the story of the ingredient. It makes you think about history and where we are today and where we come from. So I really hope you introduce Huazontle into your cooking. If it's not maybe forever, at least give it a try, and you will find creative ways to integrate it into some of your regular dishes. Very nutritious and very delicious. So I really hope you enjoyed this recipe. And if you did, please share it with your friends. Like, subscribe, and be notified. And for more, follow me on the socials. Adios, amigues.